All right, Pisces, y'all ready for this? Last but certainly not least, I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to start with a couple of quotes that I think is a little kind of funny. So Pisces doesn't avoid reality. They just feel all of it at once. Pisces isn't confused. They're just processing everyone. Pisces can feel your feelings before you decide how you feel about them. Pisces isn't lost, they're just in the collective. Pisces doesn't disappear, they dissolve. All right, so my name is Heather, and this channel is called Underwater Panther. The work I do here sits at the intersection of astro-psychology, moral cognition, shadow integration, and cultural power dynamics. I run multiple long-form series exploring how different minds processes values, identity, authority, relationships, and meaning across astrology, psychology, generational dynamics, and cultural consciousness. All right, so we're talking about ranking the personality types, the archetypes from the most masculine to the most feminine. So before I show this ranking, I need to slow the room down for a moment, aka disclaimers. This is not a ranking of worth, morality, intelligence, or superiority. This is a ranking of which archetypes naturally lead with masculine function versus feminine function under pressure. When I say masculine, I mean structure, direction, boundaries, responsibility, consequence, and containment. When I say feminine, I mean integration, attunement, relational intelligence, meaning making, and emotional continuity. Every archetype carries both, but every archetype has a default lead function, especially when systems destabilize. And here's the critical point. When an archetype is forced to lead from its non-native polarity, it doesn't become balanced. It becomes overextended, distorted, or resentful. So, as we move from the most masculine leading to the most feminine leading, we are not moving from strong to weak. We're moving from structure first minds to connection first minds, each carrying moral weight differently, and each breaking differently when overloaded. So, with that clarification, let's look at what healthy versus distorted masculine and feminine actually looks like. So, I'm going to go through the list quickly and starting from the most masculine to the most feminine. I have been studying this topic for a decade now. I am a very masculine woman myself. I am Pisces ego, Venus and North Node, but I'm an Aries rising, Capricorn stellium, including my moon, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and midheaven. So, and then I'm an Aquarius or INTJ mind. So I am pretty masculine. I am like the extremes of the most masculine energies and the most feminine with the Pisces. So it's just a topic that I personally am heavily invested in because like my entire personality is very masculine, and then the Pisces throw people off as well as myself. And um yeah, I am very interested in this topic within individuals, within myself, within the collective. I care deeply about polarity dynamics with power and the masculine and feminine. So, I'm going to go through the list, and then I'm going to break down your personality using my key cards that I created many years ago. All right, so number one, we have Capricorn or the ISTJ due to Saturn containment and consequence. Number two, Aries or the ESTP, Mars initiation and force of action. Number three, Aquarius or the INTJ, structural ethics and systems direction. Number four, we have Leo, the ENFP, visible leadership and morale direction. Number five, we have Sagittarius or the ISTP, meaning, direction, doctrine, pressure. Number six, we have Virgo, the ESFJ, standardization and corrective containment. Number seven, we have Scorpio, the ENFP, power containment internally and control risk when split. 8, we have Gemini, the ENTJ, androgynous bridge, oscillates, can look masculine when detached and feminine when attuned. And number 9, we have Taurus, the ESTJ, yin, stable but outwardly quiet authority through consistency. 10, Libra, ENTP, relational governance and harmony first outwardly. 11, Cancer, ENFJ, protective containment, but feminine leading via emotional safety. And then we have Pisces, the INFJ, dissolution, unity, and compassion first. All right, so here is your key card. So this is Astro-Psychology. Psychologically, we have the hero, parent, child, and inferior. Astrologically, we have the ruling planet, exaltation, left field or detriment, and fall. All right, so Pisces, pure feminine dissolution. The mystic who loves without losing form. So why Pisces comes last? Dissolution must come last or nothing holds. Pisces must come last because dissolution without structure is annihilation. Before Pisces can safely enter, reality must already be named. Shadow must already be faced. Systems must already function. Meaning must already exist. Morale must still be alive. Structure must still hold. Stability must ground the body. Harmony must govern relationships, and care must protect emotional safety. So we have reality must be shared with Gemini, shadow with Scorpio, systems with Virgo, meaning with Sagittarius, morale with Leo. Structure must hold with Capricorn, stability must be grounded with Taurus, harmony must govern with Libra, and care must protect with Cancer. Only then can Pisces ask the question no other archetype is designed to carry. Who is suffering and how do we remember that we are one? Pisces is not weak. Pisces is the solvent of the psyche. Civilizations do not fail only from cruelty, corruption, or collapse of order. They fail when suffering becomes meaningless, when pain has no witness, grief has no container, and compassion evaporates into numbness. This is Pisces' jurisdiction. So, core function, how Pisces operates. Pisces is a water sign. So, we are talking about the feeling and emotional world with the element of water. Purely feminine leading, governed by Neptune or Jupiter, depending. I add in both the classical and newer astrology. I add it all in there. With Jupiter amplifying meaning, faith, and scale. Pisces does not operate through structure, logic, hierarchy, or containment. It operates through merging. Where other archetypes define safety through boundaries, Pisces defines safety through connection. Its intelligence is not linear or categorical. It is relational, atmospheric, and permeable. Pisces dissolves boundaries not to erase reality, but to soften it. It senses where separation itself is the source of suffering. While other archetypes protect through walls, rules, or distance, Pisces protects through oneness. It enters emotional space without armor. It feels pain without needing it to be explained, justified, or proven. Pisces does not require a narrative to validate suffering. It recognizes pain as real simply because it exists. Under pressure, Pisces moves towards rather than away. It merges, empathizes, absorbs, and dissolves the illusion of separation. It does not ask who is right. It does not ask who caused the harm. It does not triage based on blame or deserving. Pisces ask only one question: who is hurting and how might that hurt be eased? This is not passivity, it is radical receptivity. Pisces' strength lies in its willingness to remain present with pain that others cannot tolerate, wallowing in the absolute depths. It does not flinch from grief, confusion, despair, or longing. Where other archetypes seek resolution, Pisces offers companionship. Where others demand clarity, Pisces offers presence. This is not weakness, it is a different form of endurance. All right, so now we're going to get into moral load. What Pisces carries. Pisces carries collective emotional and spiritual pain. Its moral burden is not individual or situational, it is cumulative. Pisces absorbs what spills through the cracks of systems that prioritize logic, productivity, or order over mercy. Its morality is not rule based, it is suffering based. Pisces ethics are voiced through mercy rather than judgment, through the recognition that pain exceeds explanation, through the understanding that suffering does not always have a clean cause or solvable structure. Pisces carries the conviction that no being deserves to drown alone, not because everyone is innocent, but because abandonment multiplies harm. Pisces absorbs grief so others do not collapse under it. It carries sorrow that does not belong to one person, one family, or one generation. It holds the ache of exile, loss, betrayal, spiritual disillusionment, and longing that moves through humanity like a tide. Pisces is the ocean itself. This grief is not always personal, but it is always felt. This is why Pisces often appears ungrounded, distant, or lost. It is not confused, it is holding what no one else wants to feel. Pisces exists at the threshold where pain becomes bearable simply because it is shared. When integrated, this creates extraordinary compassion and spiritual resilience. When uncontained, it leads to overwhelm, escapism, or dissolution of self. Pisces' work is not to feel less, but to learn when to release what was never theirs to carry alone. How Pisces resists and fails identity capture. Pisces resists identity capture through ego disillusion. It does not harden into fixed identity easily. Where other archetypes solidify around roles, beliefs, hierarchies, or moral positions, Pisces instinctively loosens them. It sees through labels into shared humanity. It refuses cruelty not as a rule, but as an instinct. Absolutism feels violent to Pisces because it fragments what Pisces experiences as a whole. This is why Pisces is often difficult to recruit into rigid ideological camps. It senses when identity becomes a weapon. It recoils from systems that require dehumanization to function. Pisces does not evaluate worth through rank, purity, or moral superiority. It recognizes suffering at the great equalizer. In this way, Pisces resist capture by refusing to collapse the human experience into binaries of good and evil, us and them, worthy and unworthy. But Pisces has a dangerous vulnerability. When uncontained, Pisces does not get captured by ideology. It gets captured by need. Without boundaries, compassion turns inward and devours the self. Empathy becomes self-erasure. Love becomes bypassing. Pisces fuses with suffering instead of witnessing it. Rather than holding pain with presence, it becomes the pain. The distinction between your suffering and my responsibility dissolves completely. This is not self-sacrifice as wisdom. It is boundary collapse. Pisces does not want to disappear. It does not seek annihilation or martyrdom. It simply does not know where it ends and the other begins. When containment is absent, Pisces absorbs everything indiscriminately: grief, shame, guilt, trauma, and despair, until the psyche can no longer tell what belongs to it and what does not. What collapses when spiritual containers disappear? Pisces requires vessels. Throughout history, Pisces functioned inside spiritual containers: ritual, prayer, mentorship, monastic discipline, artistic devotion, mythic language, and sacred time. These structures gave Pisces somewhere to place what it felt. They transformed raw empathy into meaning, grief into prayer, longing into art, and suffering into transcendence. When those containers collapse, Pisces is left exposed. Without ritual, grief spills everywhere. Without mentorship, intuition has no anchor. Without sacred limits, empathy floods and the psyche's unchecked. Meaning dissolves into fog. Pisces begins to drown in what is meant to be transmuted. In this state, emotional flooding becomes constant. Disassociation replaces presence. Savior complexes emerge, not from ego, but from separating to relieve pain at any cost. Modern distortions arise quickly. Spiritual bypassing, love and light avoidance, boundarylessness, empathy masquerading as enlightenment. Pain is denied rather than metabolized. Harm is forgiven without repair. Suffering is romanticized instead of healed. Without sacred limits, Pisces dissolves into everything, including harm. This is a tragedy of uncontained Pisces. Compassion without structure becomes unsafe. Love without form becomes porous. Mercy without boundaries allows destruction to pass through unchallenged. Pisces does not need less empathy, it needs containers strong enough to hold it. When structure returns through ritual, discipline, art, service, or grounded spiritual practice, Pisces regains its power. Compassion becomes medicine instead of poison. Presence becomes healing instead of erasure. And Pisces can once again fulfill its true role, not disappearing into suffering, but standing beside it without drowning. I'm going to take a quick drink break. All right, so split risk when compassion erases self. Pisces split when empathy replaces identity. In this state, love overrides discernment. Unity dissolves boundaries. Compassion stops being a choice and becomes an obligation. Pisces no longer knows where care ends and self begins, and the psyche slowly thins under the weight of everyone else's pain. This is not kindness, it is unbounded merging. When Pisces loses its internal edges, it absorbs suffering without metabolizing it. What begins as generosity becomes depletion. What begins as love becomes resentment. Pisces may continue giving outwardly while quietly collapsing inward, confused about why compassion now feels heavy instead of sacred. Pisces does not want to disappear, it wants to end suffering. But without form, love cannot hold. Compassion without structure cannot protect either party. When Pisces lacks containment, it cannot witness pain without becoming it. The split occurs not because Pisces lacks strength, but because it mistakes merging for healing. True compassion requires presence with pain, not dissolution into it. All right, so now we're going to get into the masculine versus feminine expression, how Pisces feels to others. So, Pisces men often express sensitivity, imagination, artistic or spiritual channeling, and porous emotional field. Their presence can feel soothing, inspiring, or emotionally expansive. People often feel deeply seen or gently opened around them, as if defenses are softened without effort. There's an otherworldly quality to Pisces men when integrated, a sense that they are tuned to something subtle and humane. In shadow, however, avoidance emerges. Identity fuses. Without firm internal structures, Pisces men may retreat into fantasy, disassociation, or withdrawal when reality becomes harsh. Shame around softness, often socially reinforced, drives them to hide their deep or mute their empathy. Sensitivity, rather than being integrated, is concealed. The world feels too loud, too sharp, and Pisces escapes instead of engaging. Many Pisces men are taught early that vulnerability equals weakness. As a result, they may oscillate between deep emotional openness and complete disappearance, unsure how to inhabit sensitivity without losing self-respect or safety. Pisces women often embody deep compassion, emotional merging, spiritual attunement, and naturally healing presence. People feel relieved, understood, and emotionally held around them. Their empathy can feel almost aesthetic, absorbing pain simply by being present with it. Pisces women often create spaces where others feel permitted to fall apart. In shadow, savior dynamics take hold. Compassion becomes compulsory. Martyrdom replaces choice. Pisces women may overgive, overabsorb, and over identify with others' suffering, confusing endurance with love. This invites exploitation, not because Pisces women lack intelligence, but because boundaries feel morally wrong when pain is present. Many Pisces women are socially conditioned to carry collective emotional weights without protection. They are praised for selflessness and punished for limits. Over time, this erodes agency. Exhaustion sets in. Resentment simmers beneath spiritual language. Healing becomes performative rather than regenerative. So the core tension, the masculine, whoops, I went too far. The masculine and feminine expresses differ in form, but the underlying tension is the same. Compassion without form consumes the self. Pisces reaches its highest expression not by feeling less, but by holding empathy within structure. Ritual, art, boundaries, discipline, and discernment. When compassion is given a container, Pisces becomes medicine rather than martyrdom. When form is absent, even love becomes unsustainable. Pisces does not need to harden. It needs edges strong enough to keep its heart intact. All right, so now we're going to move into the 4-point planetary and cognitive architecture. Why Pisces feels infinite and why it needs edges. So at its core, Pisces is governed by compassion attunement. Pisces does not experience reality as a collective of separate individuals negotiating boundaries, roles, or hierarchies. It experiences reality as shared emotional and spiritual field, where suffering, longing, hope, grief, and love move freely between beings without clear ownership. To Pisces, pain does not belong to someone, it moves through someone. Separation feels artificial, unity feels natural. Where other archetypes specialize in structure, containment, accountability, or repair, Pisces specializes in dissolving separation. It senses what others feel before it is spoken, often before it is consciously recognized. Pisces feels pain before language forms around it, and often before it belongs to anyone in particular. This is why Pisces can seem psychic, mystical, or otherworldly. It is not accessing information. It is receiving experience directly without filters. This makes Pisces the most emotionally and spiritually permeable archetype. It is the final sign for a reason. Pisces holds what leaks through every other system: the grief that had nowhere else to land, the sorrow that outlived its story, and the compassion no one else had the bandwidth to offer. Pisces is not weak, it is porous, and porosity is both its gift and its danger. So, yes, I always call Pisces the sponge. Cancer is the waves, Scorpio is the ice block, and Pisces is the sponge or the ocean. All right, so we're going to start with extroverted feeling and Venus. Well, I guess I'll start with, I don't know why I did that. Hold on a second. Let me go down. Okay, so yeah, I started with Fe and Venus. It's very, very, very heavy in this archetype. So Extroverted feeling in Venus, compassion, governance, and mercy response. Pisces' primary relational orientation operates through extroverted feeling guided by Venus. So, extroverted feeling is an outward, you are concerned with everyone else's emotions and feelings are like totally unaware of your own. And so if someone asks you how you are doing, you're going to probably change the subject, and it's really hysterical. Bypass, you know what I'm saying? So, um, Venus is the planet of love, value, beauty, and relational worth. This pairing attunes Pisces directly to suffering and moves it instinctively toward mercy. Pisces does not ask whether compassion is deserved. It responds to pain because pain exists. To Pisces, suffering itself is justification enough. When healthy, FE Venus expresses an unconditional love without coercion. There's no other sign that actually embodies unconditional love like Pisces. Take a moment of silence. Pisces can hold another's pain without trying to control their behavior. It can forgive without erasing memory, care without ownership, and offer warmth without demanding reciprocity. This creates a rare form of emotional safety. People feel seen at their most broken without being judged, corrected, or fixed. Pisces offers presence rather than solutions and acceptance rather than evaluation. In shadow, FE Venus absorbs guilt that does not belong to it. Pisces begins to confuse compassion with responsibility. It carries emotional burdens that are not its assignment. Accountability is bypassed in the name of love. Harm is softened rather than confronted. Pisces does not intend to enable. It simply cannot tolerate the idea of anyone being abandoned in pain. Mercy becomes boundaryless. Love becomes obligation, and compassion becomes a trap that quietly erases the self. So, yes, Cancer and Pisces are the absolute most, for lack of a better term, doormatty. They turn the other cheek. Think Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was a Pisces. I mean, just boundless in love, very Christ-like, turn the other cheek, unconditional love, no boundaries. It is, you're constantly aware of the emotional environment, and you need to really consciously turn that down. Other people's emotions and feelings, what they're going through, is not your responsibility. It is not your responsibility. It's none of your business. Just tell yourself that. Other people's junk is none of your business. Only sit with people that ask to be sit with instead of everyone. I know that's hard, but you only have so much energy. So much energy. All right, so NI, introverted intuition, and Jupiter. We also have Neptune here. Meaning beyond the personal and faith in the invisible. Pisces' intuitive engine operates through introverted intuition, expanded by Jupiter, so NI, the planet and Neptune, the planet of meaning, belief, and spiritual scale. This pairing gives Pisces an inward gaze that stretches far beyond the personal into the mystic, symbolic, and transpersonal. So y'all are considered the sage, the sage on top of the hill, meditating by yourself. Pisces does not experience life as isolated events. It experiences life as a continuum of meaning, where every moment echoes something larger. NI Jupiter allows Pisces to perceive suffering as part of a long spiritual narrative rather than a single injustice. Pain is not random, it is woven. Loss is not meaningless, it is initiatory. When healthy, this creates profound spiritual wisdom. Pisces can hold paradoxes without collapsing. It can trust meaning without needing proof. It can offer hope without denial. It understands that not all pain is fixable, but none of it is pointless. In shadow, Ni, Jupiter, Neptune becomes spiritual bypass. Meaning replaces responsibility. Faith replaces form. Pisces may interpret suffering as meant to be instead of something that requires boundaries, intervention, or repair. The story becomes so vast that the present moment disappears. Pisces floats above reality rather than inhabiting it. Belief becomes an escape hatch instead of a foundation. So, like Aquarius, Pisces also has a constant out of body experience. We have earth and fall, and we feel very above earth. The physical reality, we're more cerebral, spiritual. It is a constant outer body experience. All right, so we have introverted thinking and Mercury, inner coherence and quiet discernment. Pisces' internal logic operates through TI or introverted thinking guided by Mercury, the planet of cognition, interpretation, and articulation. This function is subtle and often overlooked because Pisces does not lead with logic or assert it aggressively. Its thinking is quiet, reflective, and philosophical, more concerned with coherence than persuasion. So Pisces are introverted by nature, one of the most introverted by nature, and they certainly do not try to convince others in what to believe. Not a thing. We don't want to be controlled. So we don't control other people. It's a thing. So when integrated, TI Mercury gives Pisces discernment. It allows Pisces to quietly evaluate what is true, what is sustainable, and what is not actually its responsibility. This is the function that gives Pisces edges. It allows compassion to remain intact without being self-destructive. Pisces can say, I care deeply, and this is not mine to carry. In shadow, TI collapses under emotional flooding. Logic becomes inaccessible. Pisces struggles to articulate boundaries or explain why something feels wrong. Thought loop without resolution. Confusion replaces clarity. Silence replaces structure. Pisces may feel that something is harmful, but lack the language or internal firmness to stop it. All right, so SE, extroverted sensing, and Earth. Embodiment, limits, and grounded presence. Pisces' inferior grounding function operates through extroverted sensing, SE, anchored to Earth. This is Pisces' most fragile axis. SE Earth governs embodiment, physical limits, time, space, and material reality. All domains Pisces naturally deprioritizes. The physical world can feel too loud, too sharp, too limiting compared to the fluid inner world Pisces inhabits. When integrated, SE Earth gives Pisces containment. The body becomes a boundary. Time becomes a stabilizer. Like, what is time? What really is time? There's no such thing as time. You don't remember people's names. You just remember their energy. I get it. Physical reality provides edges that allows compassion to remain sustainable. Pisces learns that grounding is not betrayal of spirit. It is what allows spirit to stay intact in a human body. In shadow, SE is avoided. Pisces disassociates, escapes, numbs, or drifts into fantasy when reality feels overwhelming. The body is neglected, needs are ignored. Without Earth, Pisces dissolves into everything, including harm. This is where burnout, depletion, addiction, and identity loss appear. Not because Pisces lacks strength, but because it lacks form. So, how these four work together. So, FE Venus opens Pisces to suffering and moves it toward mercy. NI Jupiter expands pain into meaning and trust the invisible. TI Mercury quietly discerns truth when allowed to engage. SE Earth provides the boundaries that keep compassion embodied. Together, these functions create an archetype designed to hold pain without hardening, to love without domination, and to remind humanity of its shared interior world. Pisces thrives when compassion has structure. Pisces collapses when love has no edges. At its highest expression, Pisces becomes the witness who does not abandon suffering and does not disappear into it either. So, Pisces teaches us that love is infinite, but humans still need borders to survive it. So, integrated role, the payoff. Integrated Pisces is not boundless in the way people assume. It is spacious with form. It loves without losing shape. It opens to pain without surrendering identity. Integration does not harden Pisces or make it less compassionate. It makes compassion inhabitable. Pisces learns that empathy does not require self-erasure and that love does not ask for disappearance as proof of sincerity. When Pisces is integrated, it no longer dissolves itself to ease suffering. It dissolves suffering itself by staying present, conscious, and embodied. It can sit with pain without absorbing it, witness grief without becoming it, and offer mercy without confusing mercy for responsibility. Compassion becomes an act of clarity rather than collapse. At this level, Pisces understands something profound, that suffering ends not when it's swallowed, but when it is held within limits. Boundaries do not block love, they give it somewhere to land. Form does not imprison spirit, it allows spirit to remain alive inside the human world. Pisces stops trying to save everyone by disappearing and begins to heal by remaining intact. This is the mystic who knows when to step forward and when to step back. The healer who does not martyr themselves. The witness who allows life to soften without dissolving into fog. Hello, Neptune. Integrated Pisces becomes the quiet closing of the zodiac, not an ending through exhaustion, but an ending through resolution. Pisces dissolves pain, not self. All right, so Pisces completes the polarity arc. Masculine builds, feminine sustains, and at the very end, feminine dissolves so life can begin again. Without Pisces, the system hardens into cruelty. Without structure, Pisces disappears into nothing. That is the full circuit. All right, what am I at? 37 minutes, not bad. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Holler to all the Pisces out there floating around, swimming around, swimming around throughout life, trying not to lose themselves. Trying to see if anything else comes up. I've been filming for hours tonight. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to write your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. And do check out my playlist on Pisces. I have done extensive work on Pisces. I have written, I think it's like a 200-page ebook master framework of the Pisces ego itself, breaking this down a ton more into depth. Pisces are one of the most misunderstood personality types. They understand other people better than they understand themselves, and then no one else understands them hardly as well. So that was one of the very first books that I wrote. And so if you want to learn more about yourself, or if you're like a cross watcher trying to understand Pisces, totally understandable. Definitely feel free to check out the ebook. It will be in the description box below. And also check out my playlist. I don't know if I have like 100 videos or not yet or not on Pisces. I don't remember how many, but I have quite a few. So anyways, take care, y'all, and I will see you in the next video.